June the 29th, 2024. Guys, this is the 2 p.m. update from Fox Hurricane. This is from Sky Tower down in Florida. Matches pretty much the cone for the National Hurricane Center. If you look at the National Hurricane Center where we're seeing these Cat 3s, it will say M for major storm. And this is what I was talking about last night. These were 2s. Remember that? And then I started reading the data, and we were getting very well up into Cat 3 categories. And that's what we're seeing here. Now, this is kind of rough data. I want to look at it just a little deeper because I'm really concerned about this storm and the one behind it, possibly. We got winds at 65 miles per hour. It's Tropical Storm Burl. Pressure is getting lower at 998 millibars. Here's your location right here. Now, we're talking about a Cat 2 in the morning now, okay? Sunday, 8 a.m. Then a Cat 3 by Monday morning, 150 mile per hour storms. Now, this is accurate in a way, but guys, it's going to break down at about 10 miles per hour actually once it crosses the Windward Islands here and then regain that strength. Now, I think you're going to have problems here with the Windward Islands, guys. You got a Cat 3 coming at you, right? Then right here, we've got a couple more problems. You're going to have Cuba, and then right in here, we're going to pull this up, and I'm going to show you what's there, the Cayman Islands, and they could take a direct hit. But again, they're saying it will be back to a Cat 1. I don't know about that. We'll see if it misses Jamaica just a little further south or the storm is stronger than they think. Jamaica may not have that much impact. It will do some slowing down if it comes through those, and it does have some pretty high mountains there. Anyway, what I want to do is while we're here, I want to look at another map. I kind of put some of the data onto Google Maps. Let's look at that. Now, because this is one of the first ones and it may be very strong, I wanted to look just a little closer and take the data coming off the computers so we could kind of look a little deeper into this. It's going to be important for some of these forward islands. But here we're talking about on the 1st, what's that, Monday morning? Again, they're saying a Cat 3 right here in Grenada. So I've added these green points and some notes here, guys, and kind of break down. And you can back this video up and look at it if you want to. It's going to change some. But again, last night, the raw data showed us this would be a 3 like it is now and not a 2. So I've got this again coming into Grenada. And right here, guys, I've got the information typed into what they call a note that you can add to it. So winds, the minimum winds will be 115 miles per hour. Guys, and you're dealing with a Cat 3 at that point. But your maximum gust at 138 or 120 knots is going to be Cat 4 gust because at 138, the Cat 4 starts at 130 miles an hour. And again, that's what I said last night. That's the kind of gusts that you need to be aware of because they will tear the roof off your house and tear windows out of big buildings, take down power lines, everything you can think of when you're dealing with Cat 4 winds. And that's actually what you're going to be dealing with. Think about it right there. When you got a steady 115 at a Cat 3, but when it peaks, you're going to be dealing with the Cat 4. And what may be happening, as I was saying this last night, your peak winds would be Cat 3. We may see a Cat 4 forming here before we know it. Now, if we go a little further, let's go here. Let's see what I've got. That's Tuesday, and maximum winds 100 knots, which is 115 miles per hour. But your high end at gust at 120 is 139 miles an hour. Now, this is going to be one of the strongest sections of the storm, guys. And you see it at 139. And at 139, you're dealing Cat 4 again. It's from 130 up. So in this wide open section of the Caribbean, it's going to be running wild, guys. And the only thing in its path at this coordinates, and I'm actually using, if you look in my notes, for these markers, the actual longitude and latitude that the computer's saying. Then as we're approaching Jamaica on the 3rd, I'll pull this up a little right there. Right there, we're dealing with 90 knots and 110 That's 90 knot maximum, but your gust at 110, which is 104 for your maximum winds, and 126. And that's because it's starting to enter, it's a big storm. It's going to be starting to interact with possibly parts of Haiti and Jamaica at this point. That's still 126 on your top end. You're dealing with that's right at the top of a Cat 3 scale. Now, Jamaica, so you know you're going to have some trouble with this. As a matter of fact, on the Windward Islands, you already have tropical storm watches and warnings. Let's go here, and this is the last point on the technical data. Now, the spaghetti models go a little further out. What I've got here, and let me just show you Cayman Islands. All you guys, here's West Bay, here's the Blossom Village, West End, Spot Bay. But we're dealing with 80 knot gust, 100 knots on your high end, which would be, guys, I didn't put that in the notes, but that's 92 miles an hour on your low end, 100 knots. You're dealing with Cat 3, 115 miles per hour as the storm is setting here. So at 115, you're still in the Cat 3 range. And the Cayman Islands, you don't have a lot of cover. And so we'll look at the spaghetti maps, but you're going to have to watch it. Jamaica. Then, depending on if it does weaken somewhat here, it will re-strengthen. And then what will happen is, depending on if it makes it through the gap, or if it hits the land, that will determine how much it strengthens. But now all the spaghetti models have not quite caught up with the technical models or the forward-looking models, but let's take a look at them anyway. Now, this has just been updated 10 minutes ago at 3 p.m. Eastern. It is now 2:10 p.m. Central Time, guys. So 10-minute-old update on your markers, on your spaghetti models. Now, the two we count on the most year after year is the CMC and the Navy model. And they're both showing a curve into the Gulf, not going straight across like they were. And what that indicates is retreating high pressure from here. And that's going to allow them to do their natural direction because of their spin and the direction of their rotation. It's like a top moving. But with the high pressure there, it keeps it down. So these models are showing that there's some high pressure break here. And both of them, if you drew a line, you would be in Texas. But we know we're out a few days, so don't panic about it. Just be aware of it. Few models are showing it curve up even sooner, which would indicate that the TABD model is saying the high pressure will move quicker than we expect. But what I wanted to do was show what I think, and if you look right here where Jamaica and the Cayman Islands are, guys, everything's crossing your way. You understand what I'm saying? Be very aware of the storm. Now, the Navy model has got it shooting through the gap, which is going to let it stay very intense. It will, the outer edges of it will hit both Cuba and the Yucatan, but the core of it, the engine, according to the Navy, will not go over the land. Now, the Canadian model shows it comes a little further to the west, cuts across, but both of them, again, show a turn into the Gulf of Mexico. Now, this just updated as we were watching this video, guys, and it hasn't changed much, but I do want to mention the timing here for your Grand Cayman Islands. That's Thursday morning as you're waking up, okay? Here in Jamaica, this is Wednesday at 8 a.m. That's when you're waking up, sunrise. Tuesday at 8 a.m., it's here in the open. Monday at 8 p.m., Cat 3 in the open. So it looks like once it clears here in Windward Islands, it's just going to continue to strengthen until it nears into Jamaica. That's going to be a problem. Let me say this again. It's saying 115 miles here, 115 miles per hour here, but the data does show this goes to 105 temporarily because of it having to deal with the islands here. Now, first, let's take a look at Nav Jim, the Navy model. It's the wide Atlantic view. Here's our storm in question. Let's play this forward. Check this out. Watch how it strengthens. It's much more accurate than the spaghetti models because it's showing rapid intensification below 980. See that purple section there? In Texas, we know this is going to change, but it's got you in the bullseye right now. Notice again, we're dropping in millibars very quickly. That's not indicated on the spaghetti models, or is it doesn't go this far out in the path. What we saw was it just comes through the gap right here, right into Texas. So really, when we see it this far out, guys, anywhere in the Gulf has to watch it. Let's look at the Canadian model. Now, taking a look at the Canadian model, it's picking up both storms. Remember, there was another one back into the Atlantic closer to Africa. The front storm that we're watching right now, I don't think this is very accurate from the Canadian model. It will update over time, but it shows the front storm really dissipating out, and I don't see that happening. You saw what was happening on the Navy model, but the second storm coming in very close to the Sabine River at the Texas and Louisiana border. We are far out in time, but that's what we're saying. But this right here is no way matching what the computers are printing out. We don't have much information on this one yet, but my point was in the other videos, especially when you're dealing with the Saharan sand layer, you'll have a front blocking storm that will clear out some of that sand and whatever else is in the way, and the second storm has a path. I think we're going to be dealing, just me, and if I'm wrong, I'll tell you, you'll see it, it'd be obvious, that I will come on and say I was wrong. But I'm thinking we're going to have two storms coming into the Gulf. Now, let's go back to the Navy model just a moment and look at the timing. I think it's important with the holidays coming up, guys. Again, today we're dealing with the 29th, only one more day in June. Let's play this forward, and I'm going to put some stops in here. Right there's Jamaica, guys. This is on July the 3rd. Now, let's just step it up into the July 4th. Right there. Grand Cayman Islands, you're not far from being hit. Let's move it forward. Right there, it's turning into July the 5th. Now, guys, it's starting to shoot the gap. Now, July the 4th, of course, we're in the holidays, and some people will have an extended holiday either before the 4th or after it. But on the 5th, you're going to have something you don't want to deal with coming into the Gulf. Well, let's just step it forward. Here's your time stamp. It just went to the 5th. So let me go back here one step. There on the 4th, it's beginning to move into that area. 5th right there, it's staying the 5th, skating the top of the Yucatan. There's July 6th. It's very close to shore at that point. July the 7th, it's coming ashore. Guys, so make all your plans according to this if you're traveling for the holidays. Remember, we've lost about 7 people in the rip currents in Florida, and it's just some of the most beautiful beaches in the world to enjoy, especially in the U.S., but they can be very dangerous. And guys, with the way this war is going, save as much money as you can. Put it into things you can use in an emergency. Just word from the wise here. Let me step this on through. The 7th is where we're at here. That's the last day. So the holidays are going to be all eyes on the Gulf. That's my point. And coming into them, guys, for Jamaica, Grand Cayman, Cuban area. Now, taking a look at the Gulf satellite, guys, you can see the storms coming across the Yucatan now. And pretty much what they're saying is going to come straight west through here. And let me say this. For a couple of you guys came in there and put the Spanish translation to save every drop of water for this hot summer. In the comments last night, thank you for doing that, because there is a translate button and everything else. But that's what it looks like. Now, I want to switch this to infrared, but before I do, notice the front is not pushing hard to the south. All the storms were pushing out over the Gulf of Mexico, all through the northern Gulf. We saw that. Now, again, it's starting to move north. That's very important on what the two things we're dealing with. One is any upper level wind shear, and we don't have much of that coming from the Pacific Ocean, and we'll have to watch where the high pressure ends up. It's definitely moving back somewhat when you start to see this. We are right now in central Mississippi, real feel is 107. With some of these clouds earlier, not much rain in them, it did drop to 103. So everything's a blessing in the summer. Last summer, guys, left a scar on me about what we're dealing with this earth heating up. Let's look at the infrared just a moment. Now, there's not much going on in the U.S., but I did see, guys, up in this area, some tornado watches So be very careful of the storm right there. Now you can see where the strength of the storm here. It is on land now basically, but these are very high cloud tops when they go black. Again, getting some of that hot air up into the upper atmosphere and letting it cool down. Again, Mexico City, I hope you get plenty of this and you guys save every drop. You're going to need it. Now let's take a look at the African side of things here. Here's the coastline. I know it's in light blue, maybe hard to see. This one's about to come offshore. Here is the second one that they're watching right in this area here form up, and here is Beryl. It looks like to me it's probably higher than 65 miles per hour. The update, more than likely, we'll see this as a hurricane and very rapid intensification. And quickly, guys, it's called a mid-level water vapor loop. Your yellow is dry air right here. It usually has a lot to do with your high pressure. Here is the storm we're watching, guys. And you notice how much moisture is involved with it. And it's handling its own against this very dry air. That's what they do this time of the year. So these may very well follow suit. And like I said, some of the models show the back one getting as strong as the front one. That's happened before. Guys, we're watching this. You watch it this evening late. I'm going to be checking out the updates for the Saturday afternoon, and we'll see what we got. We're watching it. You watch it. It's a heads up. Be safe.